villains, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. But Furries trapped in melancholy with the wood ones of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The paupers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance, all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Welcome back to Rogue Soul, where tonight we're talking about propaganda from Hollywood. How stupid do they think you are? How many people actually are that stupid? And this is going to work on and what's happening in the world. You know, there's always propaganda. Hollywood is always just full of it, and we're always meant to think something or believe or whatever, sort of shape our world after this fake world presented to us by the movies, and that's a constant in life. But it's become much more absurd than ever in recent years. And part of that, as we've talked about on the show here, is the Emmys, Grammys, I don't know, the Academy Awards, whatever award shows are and have always been sort of big, popular things that I've never paid attention to. Those that everyone otherwise seems to care about, you can't get one of those awards unless you tick off the box of essentially victimhood, right? All the people who are perceived victims have to be sort of highlighted in main roles, and their struggles have to be part of the plot line. And if you do all of that, literally there's like a percentage and a calculation of how many people and how many aspects of the plot and whatnot, then you might be considered for one of these awards. So a lot of directors, a lot of people, producers, they're putting their money into that. And so, you know, we keep asking, like, why are you making all this garbage that no one likes? And they keep doing it because they want the awards and more. You know, they're all also maybe have a lot of ideologies, and it's propaganda. They want you to think certain things. So it gets worse and worse as time goes on. Hopefully that'll change. Hopefully people make a different awards show or system, or they just go back to being somewhat normal or something. That would be nice. In the meantime, we have a new film coming out called How to Rob a Bank that I'm going to talk about in a little bit more, so let's get into it. roguesoul.org is the place where you'll find everything that I do. All of my one-on-one sessions, past life tarot, sound healing, channeling, and more, that's all there for you. Lightning Oracle is fixed, by the way. Some people were trying to schedule it, wasn't working. They were like, there's not even any times in this entire year. And I was like, that's not right. And yeah, there was a problem with my how it was set up. So that's clear now. If you were ever trying to schedule Lightning Oracle, by the way, if you don't know about it, it's a group session. A lot of people come together, and then you get an answer to a question or a message from your guides and allies. Either way, don't have to share what the question is. We don't need to know anything. You don't have to say a word if you don't want to. You don't even have to be live to receive the message. And if you do want to be, it is cool. If not, it's also cool. You get the recording afterwards if you are registered for any of the events. So that's how that works, and you can schedule it now. So check that out on the site at roguesoul.org. You can also get my books. You can go to the shop and see the Orgone. Grab yourself a powerful piece of high energy beauty to have uplift your practices, your prayers, your meditations. All of that is here as well. So Rogue Soul got lots of stuff for you there. Go check it out. All my books also can be listened to on Audible, purchased at any bookstore. Not allowed to close this tab, apparently. There you go. You can do it, computer. So you can also go to rogueways.substack.com. Rogueways.substack.com is where I publish sorts of events, notifications, updates, like here you see Lightning Oracle Thursdays. It's back and it's fixed. But also articles like A Mystic Path and others. Some of these are about myself. Some of these are about religion, philosophy, science, history, and more. Write about all kinds of things. It's all there for you. If you are a subscriber, you subscribe for free. You get plenty of content. If you want to be a paid supporter, I also really appreciate your support for everything that I do. And you get lots of bonus content, especially those channeled messages from the spiritual ancestors as they come through, as well as the entire archive of everything I've ever written here. So rogueways.substack.com, great place to go be signed up. Here's a blank screen for you. This was all loaded 100% before I even started streaming. And then now somehow it is not loaded and can't load. That's just great. Oh, here we go. It also somehow isn't even the right address. You wouldn't imagine the things I have to deal with on a daily basis. This is just to remind you, when you go to roguesoul.org to schedule a session, here's where you'll be brought. Here's the Lightning Oracle I was just mentioning. Here's all the normal sessions that I offer anytime all year long. And then at the top here are 2 blessings. Blessings just come and go. They're one-off events. They're group events. They're there and then they're not. So here's 2 for you. One is this Saturday. This is the new moon blessing. New moon this Saturday coming up. Then we have the full moon blessing a couple weeks later. That's how the moon goes, as you know, at the end of the month. And I only have that one set up because I'm going to be traveling a little bit in between, didn't want to forget. So usually you'll only see one blessing at a time. You wouldn't see one again for a couple weeks or longer sometimes. But when I'm called to do a blessing, I put it on here. And so just so you know, those are available right now. I'd love to see you this Saturday. Love to see you in a couple weeks on the full moon as well. And just like Lightning Oracle, you can be there live or not. It's recorded, sent to you. You can check it out whenever you want over the next week after the event. So those are there. Come join us. So the reason I even saw this piece of propaganda we're about to talk about is because I went to Masters of the Universe today. Yes, I did. I actually did that. Some Tuesdays we like to go, be really old people and go to an afternoon showing because it's so cheap and it's kind of fun to be at the movies and have a culturally shared experience and, sneak in healthy sodas and whatnot. So that's what we do sometimes. And Tuesday's the way to go. You check out some theaters do like Wednesdays or whatever, but I'm sure there's one near you if you didn't know. And so we went and saw He-Man. Masters of the Universe is actually what it's called. And of course it sounds ridiculous. You're like, He-Man? He-Man wasn't even like, top tier stuff back when it was the thing. And now it's definitely not either, but that's what's so fun about it is purely imaginative. It is making fun of itself the whole time. I actually laughed out loud many times, which I've said before. I don't know. I don't laugh out loud that easily, in my opinion. So when you make me laugh out loud, that's a hit. So I enjoyed it. It was funny. It was enjoyable. What I also liked about it, and this is not really the point of the show, but just so you know, what I also liked about it was everyone was allowed to be straight or not. I don't know who anyone was, right? But it didn't matter. Everyone was allowed to be beautiful. The main guy's white and blonde. That was like shocking. I mean, that's who He-Man is. But as you know, the trend is to replace especially, white blonde people with anyone else but a white blonde person. Idris Elba is always awesome, except in real life, but every movie he's in, every show he's in, he's just a great actor. He is in it. So it's super fun. Beautiful people having fun in a fantastical world. It was great. It was funny. And like I said, it made me laugh. There was a lot of really funny parts of it. Truly funny, actually. I always wonder too, I don't have kids, right? But if I had kids, would this be the type of movie that kids and parents could watch together? I think so. I know really young kids sometimes especially are very, very sensitive, even to things that we think are like not that scary, like Skeletor. So maybe it'd be actually too scary for them. I don't know, but every other kid I think would have a kick at this. So fun movie. I think how movies should be entertaining, right? Full of fantasy and if that's the type of movie it is. We want to escape from this world. We want to imagine heroes. We want to imagine, people who are so good and true and all of this, but still have real struggles that we can relate to. And there were touching moments. It was a fun movie. So popcorn movie for sure. Fun movie. Not deep. Really, really fun. But the previews, we saw this, How to Rob a Bank. And this is the most interesting piece of communist propaganda seen in a while. This is the whole preview was like, look, you're never going to be able to buy a house. You're never going to be able to make like a 3-figure income. You're never going to be able to do any of this. But 9 out of 10 people who try to rob a bank succeed at it. And banks, they're all stealing from you, and they've always been stealing from you, and they get bailed out by your tax money and da-da-da, which that's pretty true, actually, about banks. But so why not just go in and rob these banks? And these people are furries. They have furry masks, and that's their thing. And they're furries who are hardcore weapon-laden bank robbers. And they also live stream it, and people like love the show. So they get to like watch it happen, and they never hurt anyone because they're such good people. And it's kind of like a Robin Hood type of theme, right? Except in Robin Hood, it was actually tyranny. It was tax collecting, but it was tax collecting tyrannically, supposedly, right? The tax collector was like taking way more than anyone ever should, more than was agreed to, more than the social contract deems appropriate, and was corruption, right? And so kind of taking it back made sense. This is saying like people who have chosen to use banking for their whole life and have enriched these bankers are going to then rob from them, and that's good. And also that furries are going to be the ones who do it. Furries are noble heroes who would never hurt anybody and only fight for freedom and for what's right. This is class warfare. It's class warfare 101. The whole time they're emphasizing like, oh, all the oppressed people, and oh, all these big fat big cats, bankers and whatever, and it's okay to steal from them because they're rich. It's okay to steal from them because they're rich, and we're not hurting anybody. We're not hurting anybody, so it's okay, right? So this whole preview, now it's just a Toyota commercial. This whole preview is this is the theme. And so yeah, it's very also, aside from the furry, you can see this guy's got like eye makeup on, and that's a very, you know, counterculture, subculture, trans culture, furry culture sort of thing, to have like more and more face stuff going on, whether it's makeup or piercings or like weird teeth and all kinds of stuff, you know. So there's definitely that like greasy subculture. They're also somehow presented to be like clean people, which by the way is not actually the norm with the furry population and the trans Tifa population, and the type that's supposed to be archetyped here, represented here by these bank robbers. They're not the cleanest bunch. I was a teacher. I just worked with them firsthand in close quarters over and over again. Tended to be the most disgusting of all the kids. Are pretty disgusting. The most disgusting of them fit into these categories. That Lumi product was made for these people. You don't have to shower, just smear this weird chemical on your stinky parts and you'll smell better, and then that's okay. Now you can go have, you know, anal sex or whatever it is you like to do in the alleys. So that's the people represented in this movie, How to Rob a Bank. So, and you have a sort of, you know, the government or whoever who's after them, and then the girl who is also kind of counterculture but gets drawn into the government because her record will be erased, so she's going to help them track these guys down, but she's also sort of the freedom fighter attitude but also wants her record scrubbed, and so that's going on, and she's going to help and whatever. And you're supposed to kind of like her but definitely not like the government, but really love the furry bank robbers. And this is going to get people killed. I mean, this is going to get people killed. People who are already delusional enough to be furries are going to see this and think that that's them. That's the point, actually, is that they're supposed to identify with this. That they can do flips, they can have bombs, they can have guns, but they'll take care of black pregnant people, right? As you just saw this, if you were able to see this little preview bit, you know, right? They're the noble ones, and they're badasses, and they're freedom fighters, and they're fighting in a class war, and they're on the side of good because whoever's oppressed is good and whoever's not oppressed is bad. Simple as that in communism. Simple as that in class war. Doesn't matter actually who you are, what your character is, if you have discipline or not, if you understand justice or not, right? If you've actually honed yourself into some sort of a divine masculine, like warrior type or not, that doesn't matter. No, it's just that you've been oppressed and now you're good. That's a virtue. And if you've ever been in a class that is oppressive, you're bad. That's a sin. Super simple. It's why it works. It's why, you know, communist revolutions work, is because they cater to the lowest common denominator. They have the stupidest and the most emotional arguments, and those win. And then when those people actually get any kind of power, the first thing they do is kill all the thinkers. Every time, over and over again, all throughout history. So then all you have left is the stupid, emotional people. And they genuinely believe they're the good guys. They're not just doing this to get away with something. Like, they think that. And this movie is highlighting all of that. This movie is just about that. It's about class warfare, where furries are the good guys and furries are going to be the thing that saves the day. And the whole time, at least, there's no indication in any of the preview and any of the description and any of this that they're going to sort of like get their due, right? Or they're going to like find out that maybe it isn't so good to rob banks and whatnot. And I take that as you want. It's like very easy for us to root for what we perceive to be the underdog, but it's a whole different thing to ask yourself, like, is this actually a message that we want in the world for furries, especially? Yes, I'll judge you if you're a furry. I will judge furries forever. I understand furry culture better than most people do. People who think that they understand furry culture and don't, they're the same people who think they should like defend minor attracted people instead of calling them pedophiles and locking them up. Furries is just a fun thing. Like, no, it's a sexual fetish. You can pretend all you want that it's not. That's absolutely what it is. It's 100% of where it came from. It's 100% what it is. And then the other people who are furries and don't know that it's a sexual fetish are literally below 80 IQ. If you go to any special ed department anywhere in any city in the US, anywhere in the US, you're going to see furries in this special ed department. It's a phenomenon. Ask any special ed teacher. It's a thing that happens. Ask any teacher who's honest. That's what's happening. There's no intelligent, well, emotionally well, mentally well people who are furries. So, and then those kids don't usually know it's a sexual fetish. They just like the idea of being an animal. It feels fun to them because they're not smart. Because when you were a kid, you thought it'd be fun to be an animal too. These kids are like 14, 16. They have no idea. Right? And then the adults who are furries know exactly what they're doing. There's a reason why they have like a butt, vent that opens, right? There's a reason you have easy access to the genitals, is what I'm saying. It's a sexual fetish. So that is what's being promoted in the movie How to Rob a Bank. They're not going to present it that way. They're going to present it, you saw them doing flips with their bombs and all this stuff. They're going to present it like it's so cool. And remember when we actually had this in real life? Remember when in Portland an anti-Israel mob charged cops with their garbage can shields? I don't know why this is on to some other thing, but geez, man, the pop-ups are insane. You can come through and close them all and they'll just be there again when you come back to this tab. But these kids literally, they're like, we don't like Israel, which is fine. You're allowed to do that. And so they came out to fight cops with plastic garbage cans cut into fake shields with bike helmets on, and with various sorts of like fake weaponry, like just sticks and things, which is adorable if you're like driving by a park and you see those people who are LARPing and they've got like and those people are actually way cooler because they spent like time and effort. They like crafted this fake sword that looks real, but it's fake. They've got like armor and, they might like a dragon prince or something like that. I mean, I wouldn't do it. It's pretty bad. I can respect that. You put a lot of effort. These kids were just like, let's get a garbage can, cut it up and grab a stick and just run at some cops. These kids are not intelligent. You can't be intelligent and run at a cop with a garbage can and a bike helmet on and think that in some way you are accomplishing something good. And again, I'll always say, if it is actually true that the cops or whoever, this easily identifiable group, is actually threatening your life, the life of your people, right then and there, this is a thing, here they come, grab a fake shield and run at them. I mean, do your best. That's noble. But you are on a college campus angry at something that the cop has nothing to do with and isn't trying to change or just trying to keep the public peace, right? And now you're charging them. This is delusional. These are the people who will see a movie like that and literally think that, oh, I could be the furry bank robber who jumps off the thing and does the flip and like fights for the people, and I can be cool. I can finally be loved. Daddy will finally love me. Someone will respect me finally. I'll put on this furry mask. I'll go rob a bank. And if you don't think so, just think, okay, well then how did they get to this point where they thought the right thing to do and the smart thing to do and the effective thing to do is to dress like that and charge cops. What do you think is going to happen when you charge a cop in riot gear with your little shield made out of a plastic bendable garbage can? What in your mind is happening right now that makes you do that? It's the same malfunction that's going to cause you to watch How to Rob a Bank and think that furries are some sort of noble class warriors for justice and that you can be one too. Which is exactly what they want. The propagandists, the communists, the globalists have been at this for a long time. It's been in our education system for a long time. And these people are delusional, unfortunately, not intelligent enough to see through it. Unfortunately, young people are very idealistic. That is cool, but it's misused. It's used against them. It's used against me. I get it. You want to help the world. You want to save the world. You want it to be better than it is. But you're not going to do it with garbage cans. Not going to do it with garbage cans. Probably going to do it if you're like highly disciplined, motivated person who is very healthy and well and can go out and be effective with others. That's totally, everyone should do that. That's like the best way, right? As I always say, always look inside first. What are you doing with you? Are you as healthy as you can be? No? Well, then you should probably stop trying to tell anybody else what to do, ever. Any level of government or society or anywhere. And it made me think of Point Break. I think of it a lot. I think my dad loved this movie or something. For some reason, I've seen this movie like a lot when I was little, but I don't remember actually being like, yay, Point Break. But so it was like someone was watching it and I've seen it many times. We probably had it recorded on VHS, you know, how you do in the 80s. And Point Break, if you don't know, was bank robbers. And they also wore masks. They wore the masks of presidents. And that's because at that time you could go to a store and, you know, ostensibly find like a Ronald Reagan and Nixon mask or whatever, right? It was something you could find. And so now we have furries and we have furry masks, and so it's a little bit different. So it's making me think of this movie. There's similarities, right? Bank robbers, they're in masks, like they're whatever. And to some degree, in Point Break, there was also this sort of like, oh, hey, these robbers are cool. They're surfers. The surfers are cool, and they're just living free, man. They're just being free souls. Like, yeah, that's kind of cool. But you also at least have the message, like they're not actually superheroes. They're not actually living their lives in a way that has longevity, right? This isn't sustainable, right? And you have this message that like, actually there's some problems here. And even if you kind of like these, I think he falls in love with the girl or something, right? He thinks the guy's super cool, the lead guy who is Patrick Swayze, I think. But you get that message, right? Like, not the best. And in fact, the Fed is kind of like the good guy, right? And like it all falls apart eventually. And crime doesn't really pay. Like you at least have that message. I'm willing to bet money that How to Rob a Bank does not have that message, right? That the message is actually that, no, yeah, furries are heroes and you can rob banks and it's good and class warfare is awesome and it's okay to take from people who have more than you, so long as you identify as the oppressed and identify them as the oppressor. Doesn't actually matter. There is no right or wrong. There's just oppressed and oppressor. There's just victim and victimizer. Those are the only two categories that matter in the world. The more you can put yourself in the place of the victim, the more power you actually have, therefore, because you're therefore allowed to transcend all morals, transcend all ethics, and just do whatever you want anytime. It's good. In fact, it's virtuous. In fact, wrong message to send anyone. Definitely the wrong message to send young people. And if young people are crazy enough to, again, put on a bike helmet, grab their, little buckets or whatever and run at a police. If young people are delusional enough to think that they should put on a furry mask and that's just a fun identity to have and not a sexual fetish, right? Then what are young people going to be affected by seeing this movie? So the propaganda is that, but it's not just for young people, it's for you too. You're supposed to also watch this movie and think about victim and victimhood, victimizer, about oppression and the oppressed, about which side you're on. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to choose that. You don't have to live in the drama triangle. It's actually how everyone just keeps their life deeply dysfunctional instead of healthier and healthier, is the drama triangle. You don't have to pick one of those roles of the oppressed or the oppressor or the savior of the oppressed, right? Those aren't the roles you have to choose from. You have infinite roles to choose from. Right and wrong actually do exist. It's still not okay to steal from someone just because they have more. It's still not okay to steal from someone just because you think they might have gotten those means in not completely wholesome ways. It's really not up to you. That's why we have a whole system for trying to figure out what to do with things like that. It's not you. You don't get to decide. It's not moral for you to decide, right? So, you know, you're welcome to watch it and love it and go with that propaganda if you want. Ideally, anytime we're encountering something like this, we're at least seeing like the perspective that's attempting to be presented to us on what it is. And again, in He-Man, it was kind of fun because they were like, yeah, you could try to go the pacifist route, right? And I was like, oh, it's going to become this like, oh, it's not so great to be like toxic masculine and fight with a sword and try to stop evil. You should like talk first and think about feelings. And actually, they did a great job of being like, you should think about feelings and you should talk first. And then also sometimes you've got to cut a guy's head off. And I'm like, this is great. That's actually the right message. That's actually true. So I don't think that How to Rob a Bank is going to nail that nuance. I think they're going to just stick with uplifting what they're calling the oppressed and, you know, idealizing the furry counter trans Tifa culture. But we'll see. But I would bet money it isn't. And always keep our eye on that no matter what we're watching, of what's the actual potential agenda here, what's the message here, what's the ideology that's being reinforced, right? Especially if we're going to expose our children to it. And that is that. Until we do so, may you travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Mwah.
Glued to these screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. With Furries trapped in melancholy, with the wood ones of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The poppers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.